On the 5th of November 1975, 7 men were driving home from a logging job in the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona. They were tired, they were ready for dinner, and then they saw a light through the trees that changed all of their lives permanently. What happened next has been investigated by police, examined by psychiatrists, tested by multiple polygraph examiners, and turned into a Hollywood film. A man vanished for 5 days. His 6 crewmates were accused of murder, and every single one of them passed a polygraph test. Tonight I want you to tell me, if 6 men pass a lie detector test about the same event, and none of them have changed their story in nearly 50 years, what is the most rational explanation? Comment below. Travis Walton was 22 years old. He worked for Mike Rogers, a contractor who held a thinning contract with the U.S. Forest Service in the mountains near Snowflake, Arizona. The crew, Rogers, Walton, Alan Dallas, John Gillette, Steve Pierce, Kenneth Peterson and Dwayne Smith, had been working deep in the forest all day. As Rogers drove the crew truck along a dirt road at dusk, they saw a bright glow through the trees. Rogers slowed the truck. Through the pines, roughly 30 meters off the road, a luminous, disc-shaped object was hovering above a clearing. It was smooth, metallic, and approximately 6 meters in diameter. It made a low humming sound. Walton got out of the truck and walked toward it. His crewmates shouted at him to come back. He kept walking. When he was almost directly beneath the craft, a beam of blue-green light struck him in the chest and threw him backwards through the air. Rogers panicked and drove the truck away. Within minutes, the crew stopped, argued, and turned back. When they returned to the clearing, Walton was gone. So was the craft. Rogers drove to the nearest town and called the police. What followed was one of the most intense missing persons investigations in Arizona history. Navajo County Sheriff Marlowe Gillespie initially treated the case as a probable homicide. The crew were suspects. 6 men had gone into the forest, with a 7th. Only 6 came back. The simplest explanation was murder. The crew were given polygraph tests. All 6 passed. The examiner concluded that the men were telling the truth about what they had witnessed. They had seen a craft. They had seen Walton struck by a beam of light. They had fled in fear. They had returned to find him gone. Walton reappeared 5 days later. He was found at a petrol station in Heber, Arizona, roughly 50 kilometers from the logging site. He was dehydrated, confused, and had lost more than 5 kilograms. He believed only a few hours had passed. Walton's account of the missing 5 days, given under hypnosis and in multiple interviews, described waking inside a room with a curved ceiling. He described beings, humanoid but not human, with large eyes, smooth features, and small stature. He described being moved to a different area where he encountered beings that appeared fully human, who guided him to a chair, placed something over his face, and rendered him unconscious. He woke near the petrol station with the craft departing above him. The skeptical case against Walton has centered on 2 arguments. First, that he and Rogers staged the abduction so Rogers could break his Forest Service contract, which he was behind schedule on. This theory was investigated by the Sheriff's Department and the Forest Service. Neither found evidence to support it. Rogers received no financial benefit from the incident, and the contract cancellation cost him money. Second, that Walton failed a polygraph test administered by an examiner named John McCarthy shortly after his return. This is true. However, McCarthy's test was administered under unusual conditions. Walton was still in a fragile state, and the test was arranged by the National Enquirer, which had purchased exclusive rights to his story. Walton subsequently passed multiple polygraph tests administered by independent examiners over the following decades, including a test in 2008 filmed for television. Steve Pierce, the crew member who was most reluctant to speak publicly, eventually confirmed the story on camera. He gained nothing from doing so. He was not promoting a book. He was not paid for the interview. He simply said it happened. Mike Rogers has maintained the same account for nearly 50 years. He has never retracted or modified his testimony. Neither has any other member of the crew. No crewmate has ever come forward to say it was a hoax. No evidence of staging has ever been found. The Walton case is not built on a single witness. It is built on 7. 7 men who were tested, investigated, and accused. And none of them broke. Whatever happened in that forest in November 1975, these men have staked their reputations, their livelihoods, and nearly 50 years of their lives on the same story. The polygraph data says they are telling the truth. The question is whether you believe it. Subscribe now and follow the evidence.